special thank you to Justin for truly being the social king for this event and handling all of our entries. Everything that's gone through this year coming in, Justin has put his hand on that and made sure that hopefully everything can run smooth, and so far it's certainly showing up and running flawlessly. And last but not least is to my wife, Leslie. Folks, none of us would be here in this facility if it wasn't for her hard work and dedication to put this all together. The time and efforts that she's done over the last couple of months, not just with the Youth Open, because I know a lot of you have been fortunate to be part of her Youth Open experience out there, but what she does gaining the sponsorships and bringing in the dollars that we raise to try to make this event go is really tirelessly and endless. So Leslie, once again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much for making all this happen. Jeremy Leventhal and Joseph Adoram. If you are here in the building, please come to the front desk and see Justin so that you can get a spot into this squad. One more thing I'm going to add when it comes to Leslie, if anyone is attending college this fall and they would like to have their scholarship monies, please make sure that you see Leslie or myself so that we can make sure that those funds end up in their proper place. A few rules that I like to share with everyone. Juniors, you will be bowling 5 games of competition today. Please follow your score sheet to go to your next pair. I believe you will be skipping 2 pairs of lanes in use. If you need a correction, please find myself or one of the other tournament managers that are walking the floor. We will take care of that and make sure that everything runs smoothly and take care of any corrections along the way. Also, please do not erase your scores. The attendants will take care of that because they're writing scores down to keep things updated each and every game as you're out there bowling. 1 out of 4 bowlers from each division will advance to the finals tomorrow with a maximum of 16 in any division starting promptly at 9 a.m. We will give you those exact numbers, more exact numbers, obviously when the next squad gets on the floor and once we can figure out exactly how many bowlers we're taking in every division. One thing that we have added to our event this year, graciously the PBA has gotten in touch with us and they're allowing us to give away 5 PBA junior titles this weekend. Okay, in each of the divisions that we have, the U15 boys and girls, U18 boys and girls, as well as the U12 division. The 5 eventual winners, if you are a PBA junior member, you will be crowned a PBA junior title out of it. So if you are not a PBA junior member, please make sure that you check in with us inside the check-in room behind lanes 1 and 2, as we can certainly take care of that and get things underway so that hopefully you can get garnished a title for it. In the past 23 years, we have awarded in excess of $225,000 in scholarship. Folks, after this year, it will certainly get us over that $250,000 mark. We're really proud of that. Hopefully those 2 bowlers have seen Justin, that they can check in. If they have not, we will take care of that to make sure that the squad is full. The merchandise and raffles are available inside of Rev Rates. The drawings will be at 4:30 this afternoon. Folks, please make sure that you go in there. 100% of those proceeds go back into the tournament and enhance the prize fund so that everybody can certainly grab their share. The Brands of Brunswick have donated bowling balls that we have for the tournament this weekend. We have done a raffle the past couple of squads. We will do 2 more, this squad and 1 more. Some of these bowling balls have not been released yet out to your pro shop. So I'm not sure what we will have out there for this squad, but please, if you want to take and be part of that, you can buy 50-50 or raffle tickets and have your opportunity to gain or garnish one of those bowling balls. John Fury from Temper Pro Shop is here all day. He has some specials going on in the pro shop, as well as the demo balls that we have going on inside of Rev Rates. If you are not bowling the squad, you can go down there for $10. You can throw any of the demo balls down the lanes for that hour and try to see what may or may not fit your game that can enhance you and make you a better player. Past champions that we have bowling with us on this squad. Kai Struthers, I think you're out there somewhere. Have a nice hand for Kai once again. And I'm going to tell you right now, if there's another champion on the board, please raise your hand, go out to the unfortunately, we don't have another one. So, Charlie, you have something?
All of us here at Hal Lane's like to thank all you guys. I know a lot of you parents drove these kids a long way. We really appreciate all your support. Want to thank Leslie, Parker, and the entire staff that runs this tournament. They give their time up on a weekly basis, and to run this tournament is no easy event. So we thank all of them. And before we start going, let's give it up for this man, PB3, right here. Let's hear it. Thank you. Good luck to all.
Okay, right now we're going to draw the two winners for the Bohn for Life. Each player will receive a $250 scholarship. Okay, our first winner is Morgan Winchell. Morgan is here. Please come up to the front desk. That's pretty good, $250 in scholarship money, and she hasn't thrown a ball yet. And our other recipient for this squad is Jonathan Hines. Jonathan, can come up here. We're going to take a picture before we start. And there has to be a gray truck in the parking lot, license plate U48JTF. Your alarm is going off. So if that's your truck, please go take care of it. Okay, let's take one picture with them, and then I believe we're going to start lanes up for practice. 1 minute.
right, everybody filing back in to watch us on the Justin Bohn YouTube channel or on the PB3 Scholarship Tournament YouTube channel. A couple places you can watch this Strike Central feed. If you're watching us on the Justin Bohn channel and you're looking to follow a particular player for the entire round, scroll down a little bit under the video and you'll see in the description under the video, you may have to hit the more button in that description. You'll see a YouTube link highlighted in blue for the Parker Bohn III Scholarship Tournament page. Right-click on that and open up a new tab on your browser because you're going to want to keep us on in here because we'll get special guests in here all day. We just had Brandon Bohn in for quite a long time, a little earlier this morning. We also had Chuck Gardner and Parker Bohn in yesterday a couple of times, so you never know who you're going to hear, but the only way you're going to hear that is if you keep the Strike Central tab open on your feed and then double tab it on that second tab. Just follow your favorite player, find out what pair they're starting on, give their mom or dad or friend a text, find out where they're starting, and then it'll be really easy to figure out where they're moving to. Just add 6 to the number of their starting lane, and that'll be the lane they move to each game. So let's say they start in lane 7. They'll move to lanes 13 and 14, then they'll move to lanes 19 and 20, and then they'll move to lanes 25 and 26 and so on as they make their way across the house. So about 6 minutes of practice remaining. We'll get underway. We'll do player introductions for everyone on the squad in game 1 here on the Strike Central feed. And then what we do on Strike Central as the day goes on, we'll highlight some hot hands, bowlers with big strings of strikes and such. Like I said, also, we get special guests to stop in the booth to talk to me. And for those of you joining us for the first time this weekend, I'm $2 Phil Brilo. Some of you may know me from my time with PBA's Extra Frame and with Flow Bowling, and also with a lot of the stuff I've done the last couple of years with my own company, 10 on the Deck Productions, streaming a lot of the events, PBA regionals, other bowling tournaments and such on the bowling end of things. And glad to be back here for the second year in a row at the PB3 Scholarship Tournament. 24th year in a row for this event. And I'm glad once again to be part of it. Halfway through practice, 5 minutes remaining, and then some announcements once again from Parker Bohn III, and then we will get underway with competition for this 4th of 5 qualifying squads from Howell Lanes in Howell, New Jersey. getting ready to wrap up practice. A couple minutes to go. If you get questions, I'm trying to answer as many as I can. I know we had some questions last round about projected cuts, how many players are going to take the match play tomorrow. We'll try to get those answered. I know it's numbers that they're working on hard in the tournament office and determining the size of the match play brackets. One thing we do know for sure with the number of entries in the U18 boys, that'll be no problem getting to our full bracket of 16. We'll have to see how they're going to address the other brackets that may not reach the 64 entries needed in a division. Obviously, we're going to have over 200 entries once again in this event, once everything's said and done, after our 4 o'clock squad is completed. It's just a matter of entries by division. Figuring out with a advancement ratio of 1 in 4 or a pay ratio if there are more than 64 entries of 1 in 4. And if we don't get that determined on the 12:30 squad, we'll definitely get it determined in time for the 4 o'clock squad a little later this afternoon. About 45 seconds till we get some more announcements from Parker Bohn III, and then these young players will be underway once again, and we'll get you a rundown of all the players in our field during Game 1.
Starting promptly at 9 a.m. If you are in that cut, please make sure that you are inside checked in by about 8:30 so that we can get things underway. So right now, if you have a full rack of pins, everybody let's give this next squad a good round of applause as we get them underway. And this is Parker Bohn III Junior Scholarship Tournament competitors. Good luck.
And with the introductions from our gracious host, Parker Bohn III, we are underway here at Howell Lanes in Howell, New Jersey. Once again, for those of you joining us at the start of competition, if you're looking for a particular bowler, all lanes in play are available on the Parker Bohn III Scholarship Tournament YouTube page. You see that link in the description underneath the video if you're watching us on the Justin Bohn YouTube channel. So right-click on that blue link underneath the video you're watching, and that'll bring up a second tab on the landing page at the PB3. You'll see all the pairs streaming live right now. Keep us on here in the Strike Central tab, though. Don't shut it down, basically because you never know who we're going to be able to talk to in the booth. We had Brandon Bohn last game. We had, or last round. We've had Parker Bohn and Chuck Gardner in the booth yesterday. Unfortunately for us, Chuck on the road again. Not a surprise. That man is still a road warrior doing a lot of stuff with his Brunswick youth experience and the Bowl for Life Foundation. So Chuck headed into another event, and we appreciate everything Chuck and Deb Gardner have done with the Bowl for Life Scholarship Foundation. not just in this PB3 event, but events across the country. As this weekend here at the PB3, 10 bowlers are going to receive $250 scholarships by just random draw before each round starts. Thanks to the Bowl for Life Scholarship Foundation. So that's a pretty cool thing. Might loosen the swing up a little bit if you already have $250 scholarship money in your back pocket. And once again, we couldn't do it with the Bowl for Life Foundation without all those great sponsors we had Chuck talking about yesterday. It's industry-wide, individuals, corporations, small businesses, everybody getting together, supporting Bowl for Life. So a couple of last-minute substitutions out here. We'll get the updated roster. We'll give you the full rundown of everyone on the squad momentarily. So it was pretty interesting. We had 5 young players on the standby list in case there were some cancellations, no-shows, or withdrawals. Some players with the re-entry rule thought they had a good score on one of the first 3 squads. They may have decided, hey, I'm in, I'm good, don't need to bowl again, and they would get a refund on their entry for future squads. But out of the 5 on the list for the waiting list, only 1 was here. They got in. So lucky for them. couple withdrawals, and they have their chance to try to take down some scholarship money. We're going to bounce you around here a little bit in our Strike Central coverage until we get our confirmed rosters coming out. Because once again, with me being from Wisconsin, I don't know 99% of the bowlers that are out here right now, but when you got your roster and your scorecard, pretty easy to tell who's who. And a quality cover on there on lane 10 on the 2-4-10. As this is a fresh application once again of this 2023 PB3 tournament pattern. 44 feet your distance with the reverse brush starting at 40 feet. About an equal amount of conditioner on both passes, forward and reverse. 14 milliliters, so with simple math, 14 and 14 gives you 28 total milliliters in the pattern. Pattern real flat from 7th board out on each side. That helps to give it a 4-to-1 measurement ratio from the middle 4 boards to the outside 4 boards, but we all know the measurement that matters right now because nobody's playing on 4th board on either side of the lane. I guarantee you that. Some people may try to get the ball out to 4 at break point, but something tells me that may not be very successful this afternoon. But you're bumping the pattern basically between 8th board and 13th board. And your overall ratio from the inside of the pattern to the middle of the pattern is about 2-to-1 on both sides of the lane. So quality shots are going to need to be made by these young players. And spare making going to be a key, as lots of bowlers, I tell you what, they're going to be complaining to themselves and anyone that'll listen at the end of this qualifying day, going, I missed the cut, and I missed it by a mark. So let's give you a rundown on our top players after the completion of our 3rd qualifying squad. In our under-12 mixed division, looks like we may only have a championship match coming to you tomorrow in that division with the few number of entries. Right now, Joseph Adoram with a 163 average and Odin Peters at a 143 average are your top 2 players. In the U12 mixed division. In the U15 girls, your top 4 currently are Allison Stakowicz, who averaged 174, Kylie Apadesano, who averaged 169, Camille Forrester 168, and Kimberly Chin 165. Those are your top 4 in the U15 girls, and that's looking like what our cut will be for tomorrow. U15 boys, they got a good chance of getting to 8 for their bracket. Kai Struthers on the last squad averaged 223. Take down the #1 spot. Michael Fogarty Jr. second, the only other player in the U15 boys to be at a 200 average or better at +1. Myth Lutan, Mel Sim round out your top 4 right now. 8th, which is looking like that cut would be a -165 or a 167 average. Lucas Files, something tells me that cut definitely going to go up in the U15 boys. In the U18 girls, we're probably looking at a 8-player cut as well to the bracket. Kirsten Michelle and Amelia Lemanowitz on our 9 a.m. squad this morning put down solid totals, +99 and +86 respectively for Michelle and Lemanowitz. Eliana Ochino and Amanda Morris round out our players in the top 4 in that division. All 4 players averaging 200 or better on their round. And on the U18 boys, that will definitely have 16 bowlers advancing to the bracket, as we're already at 65 entries with 2 squads to go in that division. Mika Voorhees, prior champion of this event, sitting at plus 120. Right now, 16th position is Thomas Hastry at plus 9. One would think bowlers under the plus 54 total of Braden Massley are going to be sweating it out a little bit with these last 2 squads. That's a 210 average for Massley. Well, there's a couple players here with re-entries that their low scores will drop and they'll let other players in, but still, you got to be looking at plus 50 if you're a U16 or probably U18 boy and you're thinking about getting match play tomorrow. It's going to take a 210 average on this pattern. Got a front 6 alert. Let's get down the lanes. 13 and 14. There you see your bowler B on the scoreboard. We'll get your name to go with that letter momentarily. So Jason Boxty is your bowler on the front 6 on 13 and 14. Once again, we'll get you through everybody in the field. If we don't do it in game 1, we'll definitely do it in game 2. And like we said, if you're looking to follow a particular player that you know is bowling on this 4th qualifying squad, click on that link. If you're watching us on the Justin Bohn YouTube channel, click on that link under your video that you're watching, the blue highlighted text. Right-click on it so you open a new tab, and they'll take you to the Parker Bohn III Scholarship Tournament YouTube page. And you'll see all of our lanes from lane 7 to lane 32, and you can pick your pair feed, follow your favorite player throughout their qualifying round. There's a front 7. Keep things a-rolling. Saboxty, the only player on the big run here in our opening game of qualifying round 4. The last qualifying round will begin at 4 p.m. Eastern time here at Howell Lanes. And let's see what Boxty can do here to get himself the excellent 8th strike to start his game. Boxty wasn't too sure about that ball for about 58 feet, but that was a solid 10 in the pit. And his bid for perfection alive after his 8th frame. Well, I just went in the tournament office just to let everybody know that we had a front 8 going on out here as they're getting everything ready for the squad, score recap stuff. And Brandon Bohn, when I mentioned it was Jacob Boxty, he goes, oh, it's going to be 300 no matter what. So he's got that extra pressure coming up in the 9th frame of the Brandon Bohn guarantee of perfection. I don't know if that's actually worth anything for a guarantee. But we'll see what's happening. So we await. This is definitely our longest string from the start, tying it. As yesterday we had Donald Wu his opening game throw the front 8. Before leaving a 10-pin. Let's see what Boxty can do here. In the foundation frame. Oh, and the 8-pin says, not this time, young man. I blame that fully on Brandon Bohn. The guarantee of 300, the instant Brandon jinx. So we'll give you our field rundown in the beginning of game 2. So player movement, like I said, the basic thing right now is add 6 to your bowler's starting number. And they'll get them to their pair on game 2, which will be coming up next from Howell Lanes in Howell, New Jersey, and the 24th annual Parker Bohn III Scholarship Tournament rolls on. So let's get you a run through of all the players on our squad. We'll start on our first pair in place, 7 and 8. Just 2 bowlers on this pair. With Ava Mazzella, your bowler A, your bowler C, Kira Walter. All the rest of our pairings on the squad will have our standard 4 bowlers. Let's get over to 9 and 10. These players started on 29 through 32 on 9, 10, 11, and 12. On 9 and 10, your bowler A is Jolie Penny, bowler B, Paige Ocker, bowler C, Colleen Stapleton, bowler D, Kaylee Germanig, bowled yesterday, so this is a re-entry for her, as she's currently sitting outside the top 8 with her first qualifying effort. That finished at -109. All these young ladies have introduced so far in the U18 girls. Moving over to 11 and 12. Alyssa Riccio, Morgan Winchell, and Savannah Suitocha. Your A, B, and C respectively on 11 and 12. They're all in the U18 girls. Ian Harmon rounding out that pair in the U18 boys. He's your bowler D. And once again, if you're looking for a particular player and you're watching us on the Justin Bohn channel on YouTube, right-click on that blue link in the description underneath the video. That'll take you to the PB3 Scholarship Tournament landing page on their YouTube channel, and you'll see all the pairs in play. So as we switch around, you can keep following your favorite player all day long, and some of your favorite players might be here on lanes 13 through 16. All these players in the U18 boys division. Ryan Lang, your bowler A. Kevin Broad, your bowler B. Anthony Bocchino, your bowler C. Jake Lau, your bowler D. On 13 and 14. On 15 and 16, Jack Pearson, your A. Brady Whaleman, your B. Sean Buck, your C. Christopher Salvatore is your D on 13 through 16. Let's get you over to 17 through 20. On 17-18, Xavier Newell, your bowler A. Sebastian Bernier, your bowler B. Matthew Jinks, your bowler C. Evan Hatzman, once again, that's on 17-18. Over on 19 and 20, Maxwell Benware, your bowler A. Jacob Boxty, who we saw run the front eight the first game before a solid 8-pin stopped his bid at perfection. Boxty, your bowler B. William Jacobs, your bowler C. Ethan Broomley, your bowler D. On lanes 19 and 20. Let's take you over to lanes 21 through 24. Angelo Galafaro, your bowler A on 21 and 22. Caden Furlson, bowler B. Jake Diaz, bowler C. Timothy Doan, bowler D. Jonathan Hines, your bowler A. Azante Warren, your bowler B. Justin Rizzo, your bowler C. And Casey Campbell, your bowler D on 23 and 24. So let's take you over to our last four pair momentarily. As here we go on 25 through 28. Ryan Haberkern, your bowler B. Kai Struthers, your bowler A. Struthers already put up a big set on squad number 3, so his re-entry, I'm sure he's doing some experimenting out there. Never bad to have another game plan as you run towards the championship tomorrow. Struthers, your A. Haberkern, your B. Tommy Rawa, your C. Jaden Ing, your D. On 25 and 26 and 27 and 28. Matthew Unger was your bowler A. Jonathan Duran, your bowler B. Joseph de Guzman, your bowler C. Deion Hunter, your bowler D. And you'll see our 25 and 26 players moving to 31 32 next game. Players in 27 and 28 will be moving down to lanes 7 and 8 for their third qualifying game. And let's get you your introductions as we're almost finished on 29 through 32. Kofinas, your bowler A. Desai, your bowler B. Anthony of the Anna variety, your bowler C. Camille Forster, your bowler D. On 29 and 30, they'll be moving to 9 and 10 next game. And Kylie apparently only has one name. We'll get that fixed at the tournament office. Is your bowler A on lane 31. Ileana Kaplan, bowler B. Dakota Collins, bowler C. Lena Kratzer, your bowler D. And those players will be moving to 11 and 12 in game 3. So once again, the game and the pace fast and furious here for these 5 games of qualifying at the 24th annual PB3 Scholarship Tournament. Player movement and that third qualifying game coming up next, and we'll get you a score update after 2 games shortly as well. Well, you saw the great finish to that 268 game. For Ian Harmon. Harmon in the 18 and under boys division. As we are now into game 3 of this 5-game qualifying block. 1 qualifying block remaining. A little later today, 4 p.m. Eastern time, your start time. We'll get you a 2-game scoring update momentarily. Once again, I thank to all our sponsors that have helped us put this event together. Obviously, let's start off with the Bohn family and all their supporters, the Russo family as well. Tom Russo Photography, once again, one of the great sponsors of this event. And the Bohn family with Rev Rates and Bohn's Elite Training. Not only hosting the event, but also sponsoring as well. I want to thank the PBA and the PBA Junior program, as if a youth player wins one of these 5 competition divisions and they are already a PBA Junior member, they will also receive credit for a PBA Junior regional title, along with the points the bowlers will accumulate towards the Jim Welch Memorial Scholarships that will be awarded for PBA Junior members that bowl in PBA affiliate member tournaments. So thanks to Mike Sleds, Michelle Terrell, everyone else involved with PBA Junior, Tom Clark, and everyone putting things together, making that PBA Junior program a program youth players really should be a part of. Get your information at pba.com. Click on the Join Now drop-down menu at the top of the page when you get there and select PBA Junior for all that membership information. Other great sponsors we have here include Deb and Chuck Gardner and the Bowl for Life Scholarship Foundation. The 7 brands of Brunswick, including Ebonite, Deviate, Radical, Track, Hammer, and Columbia 300. Buddy's Pro Shop, a longtime sponsor, Chris Forey and his great group with Buddy's Pro Shop. The Storm Youth Championships, Manchester Counting, Bill Rollback there, sponsor since day 1 of this great event. Rita's Ice Cream and Italian Ice. Oh, that Italian Ice was so good last night. I know I keep talking about food when I'm on air, but when you're on air for 14 hours a day at bowling, you get to talk about 2 things. You get to talk about the bowling you're watching and the food you're grabbing on breaks between the rounds. While you're talking to some of the parents and players and stuff, you're stuffing your face at the same time. And the Italian Ice from Rita's last night was a good break during that trio sweeper competition. And Craig's Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing also on board as a PB3 scholarship tournament sponsor again this season. So a good mix of players here. We're staying on 9 through 12 for the moment. That's the players you saw finish up on 27 through 32 last game. Pardon me, 29 through 32. So on 9 and 10, you've got Kofinas, Desai, Anthony Forrester. 11 and 12, Kylie Kaplan, Dakota Collins, and Lena Kratzer. Your foursome on 11 and 12. Thanks for taking time out of your day to watch some of the best bowlers in the eastern part of the country take to the lanes and battle it out for this PB3 title and the scholarship money that goes with it. We don't have final divisional totals yet because there's still a lot of raffles, silent auctions, and such that will close after the completion of qualifying squad number 5 at 4 p.m. Eastern time today. And then they'll get all that added scholarship money, all the sponsor scholarship money, and what little comes out of the entry fees for scholarship money. I shouldn't say little, it's a $75 entry. I'm sure it's a good chunk of change out of that that goes towards the scholarship fund. Of course, the majority of the prize fund, though, does come from the sponsors, raffles, and auctions, and all the great people that donated items for the silent auctions. I've seen some great stuff out there. Tom Hess donated a jersey and an autographed bowling ball. Pete Weber autographed bowling ball. Norm Duke autographed bowling ball. Lots of gift baskets. And those silent auctions and raffles continue all the way through the conclusion of our 4 p.m. squad. It's like magic. It's like I made a wish and it just came true. We were just talking about Rita's Ice Cream and the Italian Ice there. And I just took a walk back in the tournament office, and what was there? A gigantic box from Rita's. Ice Custard Happiness. Oh, it's happiness, all right. I just grabbed the root beer. There may be some silence for the next 4 to 5 minutes, unless I see a player really getting a big string going on in the lanes. Oh, and of course, there's a big string on in the lanes. It's not a front bunch, though. It's an open. It's a spare in the first frame. And it's Jack Pearson with that spare and then a 5-bagger up on lanes 21 and 22. But as Pearson rolls along, yeah, let's get over there right away. Here we go. There's Jack Pearson. You see his scoreboard. He'll be getting ready to toss. I'm sorry. Pearson's a bowler A. Ah, it's your bowler C. That's Sean Buck. Buck with your spare 5-bagger. Still not a bad game going for Pearson, however. 3-bagger, spare, strike, spare. Do that all day. And you're just going to see match play on Sunday. Oh, I cannot wait to dig in. I don't usually do this on air, ladies and gentlemen, but this stuff is so tasty. Oh. Oh, we had a quality lunch provided by Romeo's Pizza and More right in here inside of Howell Lanes. That chicken wrap with roasted red pepper and garlic. Oh. Good stuff. Some garlic rolls. But to cap it all off with some Rita's Ice Custard Happiness. Oh, I am happy. I am so happy. Take a peek here, see if we got any other big games. Rolling along now that we're well into our third qualifying game. And it doesn't seem to be the case. So we'll stick here on especially 21 22, a couple of good scores. Working with our A and C bowlers with Pearson an A and Buck your C on 21 and 22. Wow, next year, it just hit me. 2024 will be the silver anniversary edition of this Parker Bohn III Scholarship Tournament. 25 consecutive years. And if you think about it, from the small tournament it started in back in 1999, that's now awarded over $225,000 in scholarships since its inception. And from talking with Parker a little while ago, it sounds like this year's event will take it over 250,000. Boy, if we get some more sponsors for that silver anniversary tournament, could it get the $25,000 in scholarships paid for the 25th anniversary next year? I bet it probably could. I'm sure there's some sponsors that'll get on board, help get over that number. I'd like to see that. I'd like to help out however I can. Especially, I mean, with all the good the Bohn family does across bowling. It's not just Parker. Leslie tries to stay behind the scenes a bit, but she's the glue to the Bohn household, no doubt. Parker will be the first one to admit that. The kids will be the first one to admit that. And once again, glad to help get me out here. I volunteer my time. I volunteer all the equipment to cover every lane of competition for them, and they're kind enough to get my gas money paid and a place to stay so I don't have to sleep in my car. Oh, they also get me Ritas. Oh, they got me Ritas. Did I mention I like Ritas, ice custard, and ice cream and whatever else they throw in to these gorgeous little red and white cups? Oh, good stuff. As my friend Sammy Ventura would say, good stuff. So our players finishing this third qualifying game. 2 more remaining in this 4th qualifying squad. I'm going to stop talking about Ritas and eat some. And join us for our last 2 games. Player movement, more action coming up next. All right. Well, in the game 4 on a couple of these pairs. Now, we talked about it on the end of the last squad and how important Chuck Gardner was telling you young players to have their own pre-shot routine, and it's got to be comfortable for you. Some players are comfortable with a pre-shot routine where it almost seems like it's step up on the approach and they know what they're doing and they just go. I'm kind of in that boat. If I don't know what I'm doing before I step on the approach, I sure as heck ain't going to know what I'm doing after I step up on it. I usually, if my time on the approach standing there was more than about 3.5 seconds, there was something definitely wrong. Where other players, some of them need the 15, 20, 25, 30 seconds altogether for the pre-shot routine between grabbing the rosin bag and then getting the ball wiped off with the chamois and then licking their fingers and rubbing it on the sole of their slide shoe. Ugh. And then not washing said hand every time they do it. Ugh. So, yeah. It's, we've got some pairs where we got some players with relatively quick pre-shot routines for all the players or 3 of the 4 players. And then we have some players that are a little more deliberate with their pre-shot routines. So that's why we got a little bit of different pacing. We got some pairs already in the 6th and 7th frame here in game 4. We got some pairs that just started firing their 4th game. So we will cover as much as we can. And once again, if you're following your favorite player, and I know you're watching us on the Justin Bohn YouTube channel, look at that description underneath your video. You may have to hit that more button to get more of the description. But open it up, see that blue YouTube link. Right-click on that, open a new tab, because keep us on here because we'll have special guests. We'll have Parker Bohn III in here in a few minutes, so you definitely want to keep the Strike Central feed on, and then we give you the coverage of the hot hands. We follow some leaders. Always like to follow a good strike string. Been a game or so since we had that. But yeah, keep us on here, and then follow your favorite players. They move pair to pair throughout the 26 lanes in play here at Howell Lanes for this 24th annual Parker Bohn III Scholarship Tournament. And I mentioned, that's why I said don't change the channel. Don't abandon the Strike Central feed if you're watching another player. We've got the man in the booth who's run this tournament for 24 years. Well, his name's on the tournament. A lot of other people help him run it, let's be honest. If he was trying to run this by himself, he'd really be tired by the end of the weekend. It's Parker Bohn III.
Oh, you're right there, Phil. I appreciate that.
Tired anyway, but yeah, the staff of volunteers. I mean, Leslie obviously is the glue to the Bohn family with a lot of this stuff, with getting things done when you're on the road with the PBA 50 tour and the kids are getting ready for college. Really gets things going. But you got a lot of other volunteers that aren't family necessarily by blood, but they are by how they work with this tournament. I know the Russos and several other people I've seen year after year here.
Yeah, it's. I'm going to tell you right now, it really is. If you want to say tournament staff, but I look at them, it's family staff.
Yeah.
You know, we're all in this together, and you know we're going to make an honest mistake here and there, but there is not one of us that doesn't have the other one's back. We all stand in here collectively, and we're out for what's best for bowling, especially the juniors and the families that have traveled to our event to try to make this as good as possible.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, the kids might be a little disappointed after they're done if they don't have the qualifying round they're looking for, but it doesn't last long. They start talking with their friends, and you know they see you or they see any of the rest of the members of your family, and I've seen you stop by several young players and just sit down and talk to them again. You just see them kind of smile and perk up and everything. So it's kind of a cool experience. Even if they may not have the score on the lanes, they still have a really good time while they're here.
I hope so. You know, the score, I've said this for years, we're all out here to bowl. We want to try to do the best we can, especially with myself, and I'm traveling around the world. But if you look at it, you're trying to do it to enjoy yourself, and the best way to enjoy yourself is obviously produce a score. But the score at the end of the day is bonus.
Yeah.
If you're out there having a good time, nobody likes to leave a split. Nobody likes to leave a spare or miss a spare. But you have to look at it, enjoy the experience, and learn from it. It will make you a better bowler. And believe it or not, it can make you a better person.
Absolutely. Words of wisdom from a wise man, no doubt about it. So notice that you and the tournament staff are powwowing together in the office, and I know we've got some players on watching on the feed that are kind of curious about what's going on at 4 o'clock, and I've ready a couple of questions. Hey, anybody know what the cut numbers are and that type of thing? And we kind of guessed early on because we don't know until we get the exact number of entries, and I guess now we kind of know what our cuts are going to be for tomorrow.
Yeah, things are really, coming together here. Obviously, we've still got one more full squad after this, but that should only skew the number a little bit one way or the other.
Okay.
If we have 3 or 4 bowlers that are out and 3 or 4 bowlers that are going in, from everything that we've looked at right now, it looks like easily we're going to take the top 16 to advance in the boys U18 division.
Okay,
16 are going to advance to match play, but there are going to be a number of cashers after those 16 spots.
Right.
Okay, we just have to take and put all those numbers together and figure out and go from there. In the U18 division, that's actually the tricky division, believe it or not, because we all know that things work real well in numbers of 4.
Yeah.
You know, when you go 4 or 8 and then double it and go to 16.
Yeah.
But this number of 4 working out for 12, we went back and forth the trick. We didn't have enough bowlers really to take 12.
Okay.
We're a little bit shy of that, but I want to round up and I want to give an extra bowler that opportunity to go out there and acquire the possibility of winning.
Sure.
So we're going to take 12 bowlers to the finals.
Okay.
And the first 4 bowlers in that U18 girls division are actually going to get a 1-round bye.
There you go.
Okay, so the trick is working it out. After we get through the first 2 rounds of competition, everybody will be fair game and everything will work out the way that it's supposed to, exactly like a 16-man field.
Especially with the double elimination format, it works out well. So.
Yes, exactly. In the U15 boys division, we're going to take 8. Okay, it looks like we may possibly have one more casher there. I don't know. So, there might be a 9th one that's going to cash.
Yep.
But at least we're going to take 8 to the finals, and they're going to have their own double elimination format, only with 8 people in there instead of 16.
Beautiful.
And then in the girls, the U15 girls division, once again, we really didn't have enough to take 4, but the way I look at it, we're going to round up. We're going to take that 4th one there.
Okay.
We're certainly not going to take a 3-lady final.
Right.
Not for a double elimination. But we're going to take 4 bowlers in there. We're going to have a double elimination going accordingly there. And obviously we're going to crown a champion in that division. And the best division I call, even though it had the least amount of entries, is the U12. The U12, we brought it back this year. We wanted to make it a mixed division. That way it was boys and girls bowling successfully together at that point. And when I look at that, we're trying to give them an opportunity to feel exactly like the older bowlers that are in the field.
Okay.
So when that little boy or girl, whoever makes the cut, because we don't know that yet, when they get up there and they make the finals, we're only going to take 2 of them, but they're going to have to win 2 matches.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're going to potentially be on the lanes minimum 4 games, but potentially 6 games. And they have to get up there and perform their duties to get out there and get the job done. And regardless whether they bowl 110, 130, or 150, and it could be higher. We don't know that.
Right.
But them getting up in the 10th and needing to mark, well, Phil, it's no different than these kids in the U18 or the guys on the PBA Tour needing a double in the 10th to win.
You know, and the nice thing for these kids, too, and I'm going to toot my own horn about it right now because I've done it for years, and you remember the TV shows I had back in Wisconsin when you were there for Sean Yonan. It's a different animal when there's cameras on you and you know people are watching at home and everything like that. You can be having a few people, friends and family watching in the bowling center bowling for a title, but you get those cameras on you, and you remember A.J. Johnson. He won the year you were there for the Sean Yonan, and you look at the career he's gone off to. He even said he bowled a lot of tournaments up to that point. He was a freshman at McHenry when he won, and he said, this is entirely different than anything I've ever done.
Exactly.
And it helped him a little bit into his professional career because you know what you're kind of expecting. When he was under the TV lights at the Masters 3 years later, he wasn't a full nervous wreck. He had a couple of bad shots that cost him the title against Belmo. I mean, what are you going to do with Belmo? He was
correct.
Buzzsaw those years at the Masters. But you could just kind of tell where AJ kind of been there before. A lot bigger stage being ESPN instead of local TV. But, it's these experiences that these kids get with knowing people are watching them on live streams and things that are different than the normal tournaments that are out there that can really help these young players build their career a little bit more than just bowling league or that type of thing.
Well, Phil, that's why I can't stress enough and say, our friendship, thank you very much for coming and taking the trip to come out here, because the element that you bring to the table, when I look up and down the bowling center and I see the cameras that are out here and these kids turn around, they're doing their thing, but all of a sudden, like you just said, they realize that their camera's there, or their mom or dad or relative or watching them at home. And maybe they're critiquing their game, but maybe they're sitting back in their easy chair watching a TV show of their own family or friend actually bowling the live episode. So, I've been fortunate enough to make a number of shows in my career. Whatever that number is, I know that my family was not with me all the time, so therefore they had to watch it at home. And I think it's really, really cool what you bring here. So thank you very much again.
Appreciate that. And it's events like this that are going to, people on the outside industry, the sport's done. You come to an event like this, the sport's not dying. The sport might be a little slimmer than it used to be, but it's far from dying.
Nope. When you look up and down this bowling center, I look at how many people are here. These people have traveled. We've got, people here from Florida, Virginia. We've got upstate New York covered all the way New Hampshire, Vermont, Massachusetts, Connecticut, obviously, New Jersey, New York, Delaware. There are people from probably 8 or 9 states that are here. And, by all means, they traveled this far because they want to enjoy themselves, and they're bringing their son or daughter or grandchild or friend. They're bringing them there to have a good time. And, I'll say this. The Parker Bohn III tournament staff want to make sure that we show them that availability.
Yeah. So it's been fun. I mean, yesterday, Chuck Gardner and your sons with Justin and Brandon putting on that great presentation for the players and their parents about, the little thing. It wasn't the big things that make you improve your game. It was a lot of the little things that make you improve your game. We were talking a little earlier about pre-shot routines, making sure you're doing the same thing every time you step up and stuff. And we've seen it a couple times today where bowlers have gotten on a bit of a string, and all of a sudden get up there for the next frame, and something kind of threw them off, or they were thinking about it too much. You just tell they're taking extra time, and the approach is like, oh, no, this isn't going to be good, because you change your routine, and your body acts and your mind acts differently for you. So, it's just cool, and I never stop learning. I might not be on the lanes anymore myself bowling, but I can take that knowledge and share it at all these tournaments I go to and go, hey, work on your pre-shot routine. Do the same thing. Get your mental focus. I know your sons both talked about meditation, even when you're not on the lanes, and just getting yourself into that relaxed state. So when you're on the lanes in a pressure situation, you kind of get that same feeling and just let the calm come over you. So I didn't think of it that way before, but it is kind of like to get the calm over you. It's kind of a meditation thing.
You have
it's a short period of time.
And when you say meditation, Phil, you have to control yourself all the time, all right? And most people, I would say this honestly, most people can't relate to that in bowling because they look at bowling as, I'm just rolling a ball down a lane. I'm trying to knock over a couple of pins. Well, these kids here, they're doing a lot more than just rolling the ball down a lane. They're rolling it down a lane with some expertise. They may not have the PBA card that Parker Bohn has, But I'm going to tell you right now, when I watch them on their level, bowling against the competitors that are in their age division, that's the best of the best out here in the Northeast right now. So they're trying to go out there and acquire and make their score as good as they possibly can. So how can we compare their emotions and what they're feeling right now to the person at home?
Yep.
I tell anybody, look at your own job. Whatever your own job is, you know that you have ups and downs and stress at some point. You have to put the stress behind you and try to make sure that you deal with the next customer exactly like you dealt with the previous customer, and then see where it goes from there. So every one of these boys and girls has frame 1, regardless whether it's a strike or a cutter ball. They have to deal with frame 2 next.
Yep. And another point that Chuck got across I thought was really good is there's no reason why you're in this tournament, there's no reason why your 10th frame of game 5 should be any more or less important than your first frame of game 1.
That's right.
Because if you open in the first frame of game 1 or you open in the 10th frame of game 5, it's going to affect your score in a similar fashion.
Oh, my God, absolutely. You know, I tell kids all the time, even guys on tour that we bowl with, if you want to learn how to really get better, take the worst tournament that you bowl in, score-wise, and I still give that last shot of whatever my score is as much dedication as I did the first frame of the first game. And the reason for that is because if I learn something on that last shot, it's going to make me a better player the next time I hit that pattern. And when I say that, folks, you're going to hit this pattern again.
No doubt. You know, you just mentioned yourself, obviously PBA Hall of Famer, PBA card. It's a neat thing that the PBA now offers, and they're one of the sponsors of this event with PBA Junior. And it's kind of a twofer for this event if a young player has a PBA Junior membership. Not only will they get the title here of the Parker Bohn III Scholarship Tournament winner for 2023, they're also going to get credit for a PBA Junior regional title, which is pretty cool in itself, because then every time they go to a PBA Junior tournament after that in their region, they're going to see their winner's banner up there. So it's not like once a year where they're going to get recognized for being a PB3 pass winner like you've done every squad of this tournament. They're going to walk into every PBA Junior event until they're aged out, and there's your banner.
Yeah, there's nothing more special than looking down at the other end of the lane and seeing a banner with your name on it, because immediately you reflect back, that banner is because of what I achieved where or when. And don't get me wrong, folks, there's a number of bowlers, regardless juniors or the regular guys on tour, that have multiple times that they can look back and reflect looking at that. But there are many of bowlers on the men's and ladies tour that look at that banner and go, I may only have one, but I remember that one, and it's near and dear to their heart.
Absolutely. Anthony Pepe was here on Thursday when I walked in the door. He was stunned, like, what are you doing? You know, what are you doing? But that's one of those guys where when they christened in South Point Bowling Plaza in Las Vegas, he won the first tournament final for the PBA in that plaza. That was the first winners interview I ever did for Extra Frame. It was my first Extra Frame national event. And it's cool because you can still see it's 9 years later, which is hard to believe it's been 9 years since he's won that title. He hasn't aged a bit. I mean,
nor gained a pound.
Nor gained a pound. And but you just still, like you said, you see the proudness on his face and how excellent it is for him to be a PBA champion. And it still drives him to this day. Sure, he might not pull as many national events as he did for a while. He's busy coaching Wagner College now. He's now the head coach of an NCAA Women's Division I program, and he does a lot of regionals. But that national title, every time he still walks into a PBA national tournament, the rest of his career, he's going to see that banner.
That's right. They will never take that away. That's the great thing about what the PBA does. There's many other things, but the one really, really cool thing is once you win, it is yours forever.
Yeah.
So.
Pretty darn awesome. What did now? I talked to Brandon because he said he won a PBA Junior tournament in North Carolina, and they gave him his banner once he aged out.
Yes.
Is his banner in the trophy case at home or near everything?
It's proudly displayed in his room.
In his room, okay.
He's got it in his room, so every time when he's going to bed at night or waking up in the morning, you know, there's obviously many other things that he has in his room that are emblematic of something that he's accomplished, but he can look over at that banner, and it's part of the PBA, and he's part of it.
Yeah. And it's such a great program. I get to see Mike Sleds pretty often, and between Mike Sleds and Tom Clark and Michelle Terrell, all the brainchilds of the PBA Junior thing. I know you're part of the PBA League Bowler Certification National Committee, along with you, Charlie Mitchell, and a couple of others. Was there any input that you gave for PBA Junior? Did they once it got started, did they come to you and ask anything on that? Or?
No, they didn't ask us anything regarding the PBA Junior. That was, the people behind the scenes, like you say, Mike Sleds, Michelle Terrell, that literally brainstorm and come up with this idea. And it's been a very, very cool ride to watch. The excitement, the accountability, and the players themselves. And when I say the players themselves, I mean, at one time, Phil, it was a long time ago when I was out here bowling at junior tournament. I know that. But when I say that, I still remember to this day, I wanted to win an event when I was on the floor bowling against my friends back then. No different than these young boys and girls right now want to win bowling here today.
And just watching these young players change lanes, getting ready for their 5th game, and the qualifying. We said before, treat the first frame of game 1 like the 10th frame of game 5. A lot of these players aren't going to be doing that right now. Were you much of a scoreboard watcher when you're out qualifying and that kind of thing? Or are you just doing your own thing? I know some of these kids are going to be scoreboard watching. They're going to look on their phones.
Yeah, I watch it occasionally now and then. When I know I got things under control, then I may watch or gander over there just to go see it. But if things are not exactly where I want, then I'm going to focus all my efforts on my bowling ball going down the lane. And you definitely focus your efforts a little bit more or less, depending what the scoring pace is. You got to have an awareness as to what that's going on there. Because filling frames when the scoring pace is low can be every bit as important as throwing a 5-bagger every game when the scoring pace is high. But when I say that, you need to control what's going on there. If I control me and I have the lane under control, scoring pace to me is almost irrelevant because my score is going to be reflective of what I need to get to.
So, I talked to your son, Brandon, a little while ago. You kind of said he's not much of a scoreboard watcher. He peak, the peak once in a while.
Yeah.
And he also said that you're his biggest mentor, obviously, in bowling. So my question to you is, as you were his age, who was your biggest mentor in bowling?
My biggest mentor in bowling, obviously being left-handed, everybody loved Earl Anthony, but I had the fortunate pleasure, Phil, and it happened for me right in this area. 3 of the greatest bowlers of all time, and may 2 of them now, unfortunately, rest in peace, lived within 30 minutes of me growing up. In the summer I turned 17, it started with some guy named Dave Davis. Oh, by the way, he's in the PBA USBC Hall of Fame. Transformed within the next 6 months to a year to some guy named Mark Roth, who, by the way, is in the PBA USBC Hall of Fame. And then it transformed into the guy that we all know today because his name's all over our sport, and it should be, rightfully so, is a guy named Johnny Petraglia, who's in the PBA and USBC Hall of Fame. So when you've got 3 gentlemen of that nature and stature living in your backyard, you can stand nothing but learn if you open up your eyes and your ears.
Can you remember the first time you got past all 3 of them in a PBA tournament? Or no, is that a little
I don't know if I remember the first time that I got past them, but I can tell you a surreal moment. If you can imagine this. When I was 17, that's when I met Dave Davis, or the summer I turned 17. Oh, I have to make an adjustment.
We'll
you know what? I'm going to go right back to this story because you're going to love this one.
Oh, absolutely.
Hold on.
We'll get Parker back here in a minute. We'll see if we got some scoring updates for you as players start their 5th and final game. I know that they're working as hard as they can, and we got a little off pacing on some of these divisions, and we're still at 2 games for our qualifiers. But you can get all your standings on the event after each squad is complete for sure, and then they update them as quick as they can during the squads at ParkerBohn3, and that's the number 3.com, and right on the middle of that landing page when you get to ParkerBohn3.com, you'll see the link for 2023 results, and that'll take you in, and you'll be able to see the results for all 5 divisions that are competing in this event. And once again, your cuts for those of you that are getting a little nervous before you come in for your competition on the 4 o'clock squad, if you're keeping this on. We're going to take the top 16 in the U18 boys, the top 12 in the U18 girls, the top 8 in the U15 boys, the top 4 in the U15 girls, and the top 2 in the U12 mixed. And it's nice thanks to a lot of the sponsors that we have, with Craig's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, Rita's Italian Custard, pardon me, Rita's Ice Custard Italian. It's called Italian Ice back where I come from, but ice custard is so good. Manchester Accounting and Bill Rolbach, the Storm Youth Championships, Buddy's Pro Shop, I Am Bowling, the Brands of Brunswick, Bowl for Life Scholarship Foundation, Tom Russo Photography, and of course Bohn's Elite Training inside of Rev Rates, and we mentioned PBA Junior and their participation and sponsorship of this event as well. And Parker, take the floor again.
Yeah, let's get back to that. I had to go pull the tournament director job.
Yes, indeed. Man of many hats this weekend.
Yeah. But so the surreal moment, like I said, I met Dave Davis when I was 16, turning the summer of 17. Fortunately, met Mark Roth about 6 or 8 months after that, so I'm 17, well into being 17. And Johnny, for the first time I met Johnny by the time I was 18.
Okay.
So all 3 of them, I've said to this day, have a very instrumental part of my career moving forward. Okay, gave me tidbits, things. Obviously, Dave Davis and his wife, Joanne. Joanne still lives down in Sebring, Florida, actually.
Okay.
But him and her together really took me by the horn and showed me the right direction. So here I am bowling out on the PBA Tour. I win my first title in '87 in Seattle, Washington. Well, how about if I tell you that I made a couple of TV shows between '87 and '89 when eventually I won my second title. But I lead the PBA event in Chicago, Illinois at the Brunswick Memorial World Open.
Okay.
Okay, and who is sitting in the front row to watch me compete for this PBA title? Dave Davis,
wow,
Mark Roth, and Johnny Petraglia. And I'm getting chills thinking about it.
Wow.
The 3 of them are watching me bowl for the title, and God knows at that moment in time, how many titles do the 3 of them have?
Oh, yeah, jeez.
It's insurmountable, okay?
I mean, Mark's at 30, Dave's at double
18
digits.
and Johnny's. So, you know, you're talking to 3 of them easily at that point had 60 titles.
Yeah.
And that doesn't count senior titles. Okay? And here I am bowling for my second title, and the 3 of those guys that helped and very instrumental in my career are sitting in the front row watching me bowl on national TV.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty
That is pretty
funny,
darn
isn't
cool. That's pretty darn cool to have that. Just the world sometimes twists and turns, and the fabric comes together in weird spots, and that's one of them right there where you just get that moment. And when you started practice for that, were they already sitting there? Practice for the show, were they already sitting? Did you know they were going to be sitting right there?
They were sitting there. I knew that they were part of it because they were already watching the matches, preluding my match at that moment in time.
Gotcha.
But I can remember Dave Davis coming up to me literally to this day, and he looked at me about 2 or 3 minutes before my actual match was going to start.
Yeah.
Quote unquote, he goes, "You've already won this tournament. Now all you have to do is just prove it to the rest of the world." So that's how it all worked out.
Is he supposed to be carrying a bucket? Does that pass his weight limit?
No.
I know.
He's bringing more money into the pot for all these young bowlers to have.
It is. I mean, I was just talking while you made the run. It's so nice having, and I listed all the sponsors again, so nice having all these sponsors so you can advance some more people and have some additional scholarship money that can go to these young players. So that way tomorrow, it's, you just keep building everything up. It's a beautiful thing.
Yep.
All right, go give away some bowling balls. Thanks, Parker.
All right, buddy. Phil, thanks
we'll
again. I'm sure we'll see you at some point here next squad.
Absolutely. Parker Bohn III once again. 24th year. Next year's silver anniversary of this event. Going to be phenomenal. And as we said, man of many hats. Part of the tournament committee. Now he's giving away bowling balls and money and all kinds of stuff. And I think they ran out there. Oh, Parker's got to get the bowling ball out here now to see what we give away. So they got the tickets and everything ready to rock and roll. It's up to Parker to pick the ball. So, and once again, thanks to the Brands of Brunswick for providing those raffle bowling balls to help raise funds in this event. And this is definitely one of the most fun times all the parents have during qualifying, because everybody's got that nervous energy with those tickets in their hand. Am I going to win the bowling ball? And am I going to let my kid have it? No, they're probably not going to let the kid have it. Yeah, they probably will, let's be honest. Am I going to win the 50-50? And once again, every penny of what everybody does here with these fundraisers goes back right into the scholarship fund, and everything with all the raffle baskets and auction items all goes right back towards the scholarships. And they advertise a 1 in 4 payout, and as you heard Parker say, that payout's going to be even better than 1 in 4 in most of these divisions, and I'm sure the payouts in the 18 and under boys are going to be pretty hefty as well as things progress through the day. So we'll take a little break here because I'm right by a speaker. Yeah, and we'll let Parker make those announcements, and then we'll wrap up this 4th qualifying squad momentarily. Awesome. More money into the scholarship fund. Thanks to Brunswick for the bowling ball donations. Hey, thanks to the parents for taking a gamble on the 50-50 raffle. And it's going to be a full house at 4 p.m. Another 50-plus bowlers taking to the lanes as we try to get through to our final cuts. To advance to tomorrow's match play competition. So with some players already finishing, other players just getting into the 6th, 7th frame. We're going to end the commentary on this round of competition, as we're going to need to have a pretty quick turnaround. And in just over an hour, we'll be back. 4 p.m. Eastern time, your start time for our final qualifying squad for the 24th annual Parker Bohn III Scholarship Tournament. If you're watching us on YouTube, please share this information on social media. Let everybody know they can watch some of the best youth bowlers in the eastern half of the country take to the lanes and try to take down this prestigious title. I'm $2 Phil Brylow. Hey, parents, take the kids bowling, because you know they're going to have fun for life. And we'll see you back here in just over an hour as we advance our top players into tomorrow's match play competition.